And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone, and I'm your host, Sam Cerrone. All right, moving on to biogenesis really quick before we head off to the NBA. Let's look at the potentially suspended players according to the biogenesis case that's going on right now. And again, the players are going to be suspended according to Major League Baseball right after the All-Star break. So again, the two main headlines, the two main players that we're looking at in this case, Alex Rodriguez, of course. Again, he admitted to steroids, but was never suspended. And what Major League Baseball is looking to do right now is, if that Rodriguez is guilty of using steroids again, then Major League Baseball is looking to get Rodriguez a 100-game suspension, which would pretty much end his season. And the other one, the big one, Ryan Braun. He was originally going to be suspended for a positive PED test back in 2011, but he had it wiped out on an appeal with a technicality. Other players, Melky Cabrera, Bartolo Colon, Yasmani Grandal, Nelson Cruz, Johnny Peralta, Everett Cabrera, Francisco Cervelli, Jesus Montero, Fernando Martinez, Faustino de los Santos, Jordan Nobertos, Cesar Puello, and players that are unlikely to be suspended are Gio Gonzalez and Robinson Cano. Now, again, like I said, the two main guys that are looking to be in the it's going to be in the headlines probably in the next couple of days, are going to be Alex Rodriguez and Ryan Braun. Now, with Alex Rodriguez, again, he has been scrutinized time and time again. I don't think, especially in this day and age where social media has become so prominent in the world of sports, where we just critique every little thing that goes on in their lives, I think Alex Rodriguez will not be as bad. It won't be as bad. If you look at what's gone with his contract and, you know, the expectations that he's had, and the New York media, the way he's performed in the postseason, even if he does get a 100-game suspension, it won't be as bad as what will happen to Ryan Braun. And here's why. Ryan Braun, again, a great player, young player, a potential star in this league, if not a star already. I mean, again, he was going to be suspended for a positive PED test. It was already found that he was using. The only reason that Braun got off and he was not suspended was because of a technicality, because a UPS guy mishandled the package. That's it. The test was there. Now, after this, you could probably go away, not say anything, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine in the eyes of the media. It won't be as big of a deal. But what Ryan Braun has done in terms of making the guy who handled the package look really bad, which, again, he got fired, and what he has said about baseball and has said about, again, all this, again, quote-unquote nonsense that has gone on in his life, if the biogenesis case is true and he's found out to be using, then yeah, he is going to be on a pedestal with Lance Armstrong. Again, you don't have to say anything. You can just keep your mouth shut. Enough said. But again, Ryan Braun had to run his mouth. He had to talk a lot of stuff about the guy. Again, this guy's just he's just an innocent guy who had to deal with a package that, again, like normal packages, he just does he's just doing his job. You know, getting paid, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year to handle this. And he gets fired. You get him fired. And again, what Ryan Broad has said about baseball has been ridiculous. Personally, he's going to look as bad as Lance Armstrong. I mean, Lance Armstrong is in a category of his own. Don't get me wrong. What he has done over the years, again, he chewed out his teammates. He chewed out other people in his circle. And for what has happened to him, definitely, yeah. He's pretty much fallen off the face of the earth. But what Ryan Braun has done for the game of baseball, yeah. And players feel the same way. Again, listening to a lot of talk shows, and the consensus is that a lot of these players want him out because they think it's ridiculous that he got off on a technicality. It was a positive test, but he got off on a technicality. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it's really tough. It is really, really tough. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And it should be an interesting next couple of days for baseball. I mean, again, the All-Star break is going to be fun. But I'm sure most people are going to look to see what baseball does. How much evidence do they really have? How much did Tony Bosch give them? So, I mean, apparently it's a lot. I mean, if they're looking at a 100-game suspension, they have to have a lot of evidence. Just saying. All right. Let's move on to basketball. A lot of trades, a lot of free agents now. I mean, Metta World Peace let go by the Los Angeles Lakers, and originally he was looking forward to go back to China, and now he's hoping to join the Knicks. Again, this guy is a New York guy. How many players come out of New York every year that go to the NBA? A good amount, but he's been a great player. He's been a consistent player over the course of his career, in my opinion. So to end his career, yeah, it'd be great to go to the Knicks. But he's got to go through a waiver wire, so we'll see what happens with that. The Hawks, they matched the 4-year, $32 million offer sheet to point guard Jeff Teague, signed by the Milwaukee Bucks earlier this week. So it looks like the Hawks are going to get Teague. So it's exciting because again, they need a good point guard, and he's a really good point guard. He's a young point guard. He's learning a lot. He's more of a combo guard. He can shoot, but when he needs to pass, he knows how to. He has the talent around him. When he has the talent around him, he's a good player. He's a good player. The Mavericks have made their biggest free agent play this offseason by signing guard Monte Ellis. Again, this is a crowded backcourt already. They already reached. The Mavericks have already reached a deal with first round draft pick Shane Larkin, but he broke his right ankle in summer league practice on Friday, and they're backing out of a 3-year, $9 million deal with Devin Harris because of a toe injury. But Ellis is considered to start this upcoming season with point guard Jose Calderon, another free agent who signed a 4-year, $29 million deal. I mean, this backcourt actually looks pretty good. Jose Calderon is a good player. He's a very consistent player. I mean, last year, 11 points, 7 assists, a couple rebounds. Again, he's been a good player throughout the course of his career, but he's been on a bad Toronto team. So yeah, it'll be exciting. The Mavericks are still looking at a center. I mean, Dwight Howard going to Houston. They're not going to get him. Andrew Bynum's going to Cleveland. And it looks like Samuel Dalembert is the top guy right now. I mean, yeah, he's a diminished player of what he once was. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. All right, moving on. The Bucks have signed O.J. Mayo to a 3-year, $24 million deal. He's a good offensive player. He's been consistent the last couple of years. He had somewhat of a down year, I guess, in Dallas, but pretty good. The Spurs have re-signed Thiago Splitter after a great career year. So that's good for the Spurs, considering, again, he's a good player. He's a good inside post player. He's more defensive. His offensive game is a lot of work. But, yeah, he's a good player. And the Kings lock up Ben McLemore, the number 7 pick, with the Sacramento Kings. So, again, he's a good signing, but whether or not that environment is good for him, who knows? All right, now, looking at the standings from last season, how it ended, a lot has transpired in the offseason with, a lot of teams looking to get players and teams losing players. So, let's see. I guess let's look at the top of the West right now. What have they added? What they have subtracted? What does it look like for next season? Oklahoma City. All right. I mean, again, they finished in first in the West, but they have lost a lot of talent. They did lose Kevin Martin. So, again, it should be interesting to see how. Personally, I think they're on the downhill a little bit just because losing James Harden was huge. Again, don't get me wrong, he was absent from the NBA Finals a couple years ago, but he was that spark plug that got them there. And it's going to be tough for the Oklahoma City Thunder to find a player like that. Again, when they are in trouble, when Durant's not scoring and Westbrook's inconsistent. San Antonio, they got to the NBA Finals last year. I mean, they re-signed Tiago Splitter, and again, he's been really, really good. But honestly, they've been pretty calm so far this season. They haven't really done much. But I mean, again, when you have a nucleus as Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, of course, Manu Ginobili signed a 2-year deal, but now Kawhi Leonard's gonna have to make it looks like he's gonna be a star. I think he was the breakout player of the NBA Finals. Personally, in my opinion, was Kawhi Leonard. This guy is an absolute stud. He can shoot the three. He's physical inside. He's one of the few players in this league that can defend LeBron James really well. So, again, it should be really interesting with that. Moving on to the Denver Nuggets, they did lose Andre Iguodala, but again, they have great players. They have Brian Shaw as their new head coach after they let go of Greg Carl.